Hey everybody, welcome back to Fish the Mark. Appreciate coming back and checking out the channel. Today's episode is on frog fishing, and this is a technique that I really haven't done a lot of until the last 2 years. In the last 2 to 3 years, I've started doing it quite a bit. The lakes that my tournaments took me to really started being prime for frog fishing, and so I started spending some more time using it in tournaments and started practicing with it a little bit as well. And so I thought a little bit different. Some of the other techniques I've done a long time and feel like I'm really good at them. This one is one that I'm still learning a lot on, honestly. And even some of the video that you see today, I missed some fish, and I'm going to show you the missed fish. All the video I took is, or that I'm going to use today, is all video that I used over a couple of days out fishing Marsh in the Peoria, Illinois area. Specifically just to practice frog fishing. All I took out there was frog rods and frog equipment, and all I wanted to do was practice getting better. And so that's what the video is from. There's a lot of lakes in Illinois and rivers in Illinois that frog fishing is good at. Marsh certainly is one. Spring Lake in Tazewell, Mason County is another one that's really good. Jacksonville Lake, Lake Sarah in Effingham, Illinois, all are good frog lakes. I've done pretty well on frogs up on Pool 13 and Pool 14 in the Mississippi River as well. So there's another place that frog fishing comes into play. I'm sure there's more in Illinois, and I'd like to hear from the viewers on some lakes that you guys think are good for frog fishing as well. As I started jumping into the frog fishing again and really starting to realize how much important it was going to be in my tournament season the last 2 years, I decided I better kind of up my equipment a little bit. The rod I was using wasn't heavy enough action rod. It was a medium heavy, and I just wasn't getting good hook sets, and I wasn't getting fish out of the weeds. So I was going to buy a new rod, and I remembered I had one down in the basement that was a 7.5 foot heavy action rod. That when I was using it a few years ago, I kind of felt like it was a king pole. It was so heavy action. But well, I'll try that. And actually, that rod works out really well for frog fishing. So I've got that 7.5 foot rod that I'm using for that. And then I've got an Abu Garcia Revo reel. It's a 7.3 to 1 gear ratio reel. I think you need at least a 7 to 1 gear ratio. I like the Abu Garcias because they got really strong, heavy duty drag that you can tighten down really tight. And that helps get the fish out of the weeds as well. And then I've used everything from 40 to 65 pound braid. There's some hardcore frog guys that I fish with that swear if it's not 65 pound braid, you're not fishing and you're going to break them off. Well, one of the things I don't like about 65 pound braid is I think it's harder to cast, and I lose distance on my cast. And if I throw 40 or 50 pound braid, I get a much better cast. I have not broken a fish off using 40 or 50 pound braid. I know some people have, but I'll also tell you that one of the things that I'm constantly working on is a harder hook set. I miss some fish because I don't set the hook hard enough, and so if I set it as hard as I need to, maybe I would break some fish off the 40 pound. I think this year, if you see me out on the water, I'm probably going to be throwing 50 pound braid just because I think it casts a lot easier than the 65 does. So I thought we'd talk a minute about my favorite lures for frog fishing, and there's three that I like a lot. This Blitz Buzz Frog is my favorite, and it almost acts like a buzz bait, but not quite. The legs in the back kind of flop as it's going, and it creates kind of a gurgling sound. And you can bring it back straight, you can stop and retrieve it, you can pop it a little bit if you want. I get a lot more hits on a straight retrieve where I just vary the speed as opposed to coming to a complete stop on it. But it really is a fun bait to throw because you're constantly retrieving it. You can cover a lot of water if you're searching for fish. It'll help you do a lot of fish search because you're just constantly retrieving, and you can cover water fast with it. And I get a lot of blow-ups on it. I get a lot of hits with this thing. For colors, I really like a white belly or a black belly. Every once in a while, I'll throw something with a green belly. I think with with frog fishing, the belly is the color that matters, and the color of the legs is what matters. Fish can't see the top, can't see the eyes. I mean, the eyes on these things look cool, but the fish can't see them, in my opinion. And so what matters is the belly. And I think all the colors that are put on the backs are more to catch fishermen than it is to catch fish. So I have some kind of drabbish looking frogs compared to other people, but they catch fish because I think all you need is a white belly, a black belly, and then a greenish yellow belly. And I think you've got the 3 colors that you need for frog fishing. So thought we'd take a quick look here at catching a fish on this white blitz buzz frog. Cast it out. This particular fish hits within a couple, 3 cranks of the reel. Blows up on it real well. And so this is a typical bite that I get on the blitz buzz frog. So let's take a quick look at it here. You can see I cast it out, couple, 3 cranks, and that guy destroys it. And he eats it up real well. And so I get the good hook set on him and bring him in. Ends up being about an 18.5-inch fish, which is a nice tournament fish. Or if you're just out fun fishing, it's just a good fun fish to have as well. And so I was real happy with that fish. It was a good start to the day. It was like about 10 casts into my morning over at Bell's Landing that I caught that fish. So that was a good start to the day for me. I was pretty excited about that. And then the second, my second favorite lure is the Blitz popper frog. And for both of these from Blitz Lures, I'll put a link in to the description so that you can click on it and go out and buy these from Terry Vance, who's a friend of mine who makes these. And these things are really good. I like his Blitz Lures a lot. And this buzz frog, this popper frog have both been really good to me. The thing about the popper frog that I like it, that makes it kind of really different from the buzz frog, it's got this concave front that makes it more of a popper and spits water. When you pop it and move it, it moves a shorter distance than either a traditional frog or that Blitz buzz frog does. And so you can keep it in on top of the fish a little bit longer. So if they're not coming up and striking as fast, they're not taking it as quickly, this is a nice slower action, slower moving bait, keeps it in front of them a little bit longer. And so it's a nice option for when that's what the fish are looking for. It's been a really good bait for me as well. And so let's take a quick look here at a video of catching the fish on it. See me popping it through the lily pads in this case. And as it gets out to the edge of the lily pads, one comes up and takes it. And this ends up being a really nice fish. It ends up being a 19 3/4 fish, almost 20 inches. I didn't weigh him, but he was a very solid fish. He had a good thick back on him. So he had some good weight to him for 19 3/4, probably pushing 4 1/4 would be my guess. So he was a good fish on that. I was really happy with that. The other, the last lure, and I don't have a video of this one that I use, and it's the one that everybody is using, right? And it's the Booyah Pad Crasher, right? That's the one that seems to be in everybody's tackle box. I catch a lot of fish on it as well. I always grab the Blitz Buzz Frog first, and then I go to this Blitz Popper Frog second, and then I'll go to the Booyah Frog third. Everybody's throwing the Booyah Frog. I like having something a little bit different in the box. And that Blitz Buzz Frog, I just get a lot of hits on that frog, so I like it a lot. So those are the 3 that I have. And then, like I said, I have a white belly, black belly, and a yellow chartreuse belly, and that's it. That's all I think I need to be able to catch frog fish. Some of the lessons I've learned on frog fishing over the last couple of years, that heavy rod with a really good reel that you can tighten that drag down on is really important, and having braid is mandatory. Anything other than that heavy rod with a really tight drag and braid, and you won't get the fish out of the weeds. It just won't happen. You'll end up breaking the line, the fish will come off, something will happen. So you need that heavy rod, really strong reel with a strong drag, and being able to fish it with that heavy braid. I tend to catch more fish instead of that solid mat that goes on forever across the cove. As I tend to catch more fish where you've got a solid, a thick mat, but it's got some holes around it. I tend to catch more fish around it, not necessarily by running my lure through the hole. It'll still run next to the hole a lot of times, but there just seems to be more fish in those areas where there's openings, or at least more feeding fish in those areas where there are openings. So I like surface weeds that have some openings in it. I feel much more comfortable that I'm going to get a bite in that area. I also like areas, even though I'm fishing, typically shallow water with a frog in that over those weeds. I like it when there's deep water nearby. I think active fish move up and down throughout the course of the day, and when they move up, they're up there to eat. And so a lot of times, if you're in just a giant shallow bay, those fish probably are there all the time, and there's parts of the day they're lethargic and parts of the day they're feeding. I think when you've got deep water nearby, the fish that have moved up into there are probably coming up to eat, and you tend to get more bites. And I love to cover water. It doesn't matter what I'm throwing. I move the trolling motor at a faster pace than most people. So that buzz frog helps me cover water. And so one of the reasons why I like it is I can cover a lot of water with that. Then I'll call out to one of my fishing partners, Matt Steele. He's a really good frog fisherman. He's taught me quite a bit the last couple of years in frog fishing. And one of the things that he's always telling me is I got to set the hook harder, right? I tend to not quite rip it as hard as he does, and every once in a while I lose some fish because of that. So I'm working on, when I'm frog fishing, really setting the hook hard. And you'll see in the upcoming videos that I missed some fish because I didn't set the hook hard enough. And so I think it's important for you when you set the hook to really hammer them. Along those lines, I've started keeping a hook hone with me, and a couple, once an hour, once every hour and a half, something like that, I'll go in and I'll just touch up those hooks with the hook hone just to make sure they're good and sharp. That helps make sure that I get a good hook set on them. And while we're talking about the hook set, everything that you see, read, hear about fishing frogs is wait as long as you can, 3-4 seconds before you set that hook. When you're running that buzz frog, they hit it hard and there's pressure almost immediately on your line. There's not a lot of time to wait and to set the hook. So to me, when you feel the pressure, you have to set the hook. And on that buzz frog, you're going to feel it pretty fast. And either that popper frog or a traditional like a booyah frog, the videos, underwater videos, have the fish coming up, taking it down, and then a lot of times they'll spin the frog around underneath the water, take it in the way they want, and that's why everybody's trying to say wait 3 seconds. So if you can wait 3 seconds, and your willpower allows you to do that, I'm impressed, and you'll get a better hookup ratio. I think if you can go until you feel some pressure, that'll be good as well. So if you feel pressure right away, I think you set the hook soon. If you don't feel pressure for 2, 3, 4 seconds, I think you wait until you feel pressure and set the hook. And then kind of the last tip I've got is trim the leg short on your traditional legged frogs, whether it's a booyah or that popper buzz or that popper frog from Blitz. Trim those legs short. I think it helps create a little bit of a walking dog action on your frog, and I think it also makes a smaller profile that the fish will hit the whole frog instead of sometimes hitting the legs. I think sometimes if you got too long legs out there, they hit the legs instead of the body of the frog. And so I think shortening those legs up helps with your hookup ratio quite a bit. And so those are my lessons and learned and tips. I'd love to hear in the comment section, have you guys put in the comment section, where do you guys like to fish? Any tips that you guys have on frog fishing, and when you like to go the most. Obviously, summer and fall is my favorite frog fishing time of year. Really like the fall with frog fishing, but where do you like to go in Illinois area to frog fish, and any tips that you have on how you set up your frog or how to frog fish that helps you be a better fisherman. I think we'd all like that if you post that in the comment section. And in the meantime, appreciate you dropping it on the channel. Thank you. If you like what we're doing, hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button and keep checking back for some more videos. And what you're going to see next is kind of a montage of both fish catches and fish misses on the frog. Thank you.
lifted.